The chair recognizes the Honorable Edward Canfield.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to have to read this. I'm coming over here because Joe Graves copped my seat last term, and I'm still mad about it. But I remember listening to these speeches the term before, and it seemed to me that some people had spoke about their lives and their history a little bit. I appreciated that. So I'm going to talk a little about my history. As many of you know, I was brought up on a small farm in Fowlerville, Michigan. My parents, Harold and Jean Canfield, knew each other just 3 months prior to getting married. And within 7 years, they had 6 kids. We were not financially well-to-do. Some might have described us as poor. I never thought that. My parents were openly affectionate to each other and to their children. And I am blessed that never once in my life have I not felt the safety of their love and support. I have always described our lives as being exactly like a Norman Rockwell painting. That is not to say we didn't have problems and we were not disciplined. As you might imagine, with 5 boys and a girl, discipline was required, and it was required often. I never received a spanking in my life that I did not earn or have the opportunity to avoid. My parents were very consistent. However, while receiving the belt, my dad's favorite mode of discipline, or a spirea bush switch, which was my mom's, I knew that discipline was given out of love. This consistent love and discipline help raise good citizens. I have come to appreciate their example, and I've also come to realize that, unfortunately, for many people, that is not the norm. As a child, I was a poor student, active, impulsive, having difficulty staying on task. Now I would have been easily labeled as having attention deficit disorder. Despite graduating in the lower half of my high school class, I got into Lake Superior State College in the fall of 1973 on trial. One college term taught me that I wanted to be educated, but I was not ready emotionally or financially. So I left. I worked for a time in factories, realizing quickly that that was not what I wanted to do. Finally, I enlisted into the U.S. Navy. Interestingly, testing allowed me to pick whatever field of education I desired to do within the military. I chose the hospital corps, and something clicked for me. Within the military structure, I learned to control my impulsivity, and I excelled. Through opportunities offered to me during my 5-year military career, I found confidence and realized that I was not just a dumb kid. I obtained an associate's degree while serving, which to this day I consider a special life accomplishment. I've always looked at my life as a series of adventures. My Navy years were adventures. My years at Lake Superior State College, where I returned in 1980 and earned a Bachelor of Science degree in biology in 1983, was an adventure. I used to say I was on the 10-year plan. That same year, I was admitted to medical school, but through a clerical error, the class was overfilled, and we were all offered the option to sit out a year with a guaranteed seat in the next year's class. I took them up on that opportunity, and for a year, I lived by myself on the south shore of Lake Superior as the caretaker of an abandoned U.S. life-saving station known as Vermilion Point. This was my Henry David Thoreau experience, and it was just a wonderful adventure. In 1984, the 2 greatest adventures of my life began and thankfully are still going on. My 34-year marriage to an extraordinary woman, Cheryl Canfield, which has been blessed with love, our 4 children, Corey, Mary, Timothy, and Emily, and to date, 2 son-in-laws, 3 grandchildren, and 1 on the way. Their love and support in this process of getting and staying elected, well, we all know that we can never thank them enough. Secondly, Cheryl and I both entered medical school at MSU in 1984, leading to our osteopathic medical degrees. This year marks 30 years as practicing physicians. and all the blessings that that has provided to us, and we hope other people as well. The Michigan House of Representatives, I am proud and pleased. Being elected to this great House in the last 2 terms has been a tremendous adventure, and my research tells me that I am the first osteopathic physician to be elected to the House of Representatives. I'm proud of that and pleased to have brought the perspective of a rural practicing family physician to the legislature. My friend and mentor, Senator Mike Green, told me, "Your colleagues will love having the perspective of a physician in the legislature. Just don't expect them to take your advice." I found that to be true. Dr. John Bizon will also agree with that assessment as well, I'm sure. It gives me great comfort that he will continue to provide medicine's perspective in the legislature, but in the Senate next term. Congratulations again, John. I've been fortunate to be embraced by my colleagues, given responsibility and opportunity. I thank Speaker Cotter, who through the committee's process reviewed my request to be on all policy committees in my first term. Being the good attorney that he is, he read the fine print and my freshman mistake, writing, "These are the committees that I want to be on, but I'm a team player and I'll do what you ask me to do." He placed me on appropriations. But I was thankful to be named the chair to the Department of Transportation Subcommittee, along with 4 other subcommittees of my interest. During my second term, I stayed on with appropriations, and I thank Speaker Leonard and Chairwoman Cox for trusting me with chairing the Department of Health and Human Services Subcommittee and my other assignments. The education and guidance provided by Chairman Pasholka with his budget boot camp put us all on good footing. That process has continued with Chairwoman Cox. Both were very clear regarding their expectations and goals. They gave me the leeway to manage the budgets under my care, and I thank you for that. The House fiscal folks make it so we can do our jobs. Mary Ann Cleary, you and your staff are truly experts. Show great patience and tolerance in addressing our many questions. Thank you for the education and the resources that your team provides. Bill Hamilton, Kevin Kostra, Susan Frey, Viola Weil, you were very important to whatever success I might claim with the final product. The House staff underpaid and overworked, as Winnie pointed out. I can't begin to thank Mike, John, Jeff, Tim, Josiah, Becky, and many that have moved on now to greater opportunities, Elizabeth, Sam, and Tom, and so many others. We can't name them all. Thanks is rarely given to the departments of this state, where dedicated individuals work endlessly to address the morass of regulations and reporting hoops that we and the federal government require them to jump through, besides managing their departments. I don't know how they do it, but I recognize and appreciate their work. My office staff, Dave Jessup, Tim Holland, Emily Morrill, Mike Hart, Nick Tolfrey, Natalie Holland, and Brian Cepeda, for everything you have done, I thank you. I wish to thank my friends and constituents of Huron and Tuscola counties who have for 2 terms expressed their faith in me. I have tried to represent you well. I am thankful for the counsel and guidance of Clerks Randall and Brown, and you know what you have done. Chief Dixon, and to all the sergeants, thank you for protecting us, and thank you for befriending us. And Alice, thank you for being our den mother. At least that's what it has felt like to me. My seatmates, Tim Kelly, that old curmudgeon. During my first term, Tim taught me a great deal about statesmanship, about how to be my own man here, and about how to just say no sometimes because that's the right thing to do. And to Pastor Jeff Noble, I've enjoyed the many conversations through the too many hours we spent sitting on this floor. Thank you both, gentlemen. I wish time would permit me to recognize and thank all of my friends and colleagues. Great examples include Pete Battaglia, Dave Pagel, Bob Kozowski, Rob Verheulen, Amanda Price, Henry Yanez, Martin Hauerlach, Chris Affendulis, Peter Lucido, Pam Farah, Sam Singh, Tom Albert, and Earl the Pearl Pulaski. It's been a pleasure working with each of these quality people for their own reasons, and I could name a dozen more. I'm proud of the accomplishments that I have been part of within this body. Budgets out, balanced, and early. This will provide an important challenge for the next administration. I was very humbled to be assigned to 2 special committees. Speaker Cotter assigned me to the Joint Select Committee on the Flint Water Emergency, and Speaker Leonard assigned me to the House CARES Mental Health Task Force. Through these, we were educated as to the problems and the facts facing the people of our state. Many policy recommendations have been brought forward, and much work remains to be done. I am thankful to Reps Neely and Chang, who early on invited me to participate in the hearings about the water and health problems in Flint and other areas of our state. We have been somewhat successful in attempting to stabilize and promote primary care in rural and urban underserved areas. With an aging population, much more will need to be done. But for me personally, ensuring that the Carroll Center Psychiatric Hospital will remain in Carroll will be my crowning achievement of my legislative career and my part in that. Even with that, there remains a great deal we need to support the mental health of persons in Michigan, people who would be better served by seeing a psychiatrist rather than a prison guard. We need to find ways to expand this system in our state. A good start would be to identify and fund a psychiatric facility in northern Michigan. The department's working on that, and I urge this body to support that initiative when it comes before you. Finally, when it's all said and done, really all we have is time. How we are going to spend it and with whom. Throughout my career, my wife and family have supported me, and should I have run for a 3rd term, I'm sure they would have continued to support my decision. But I have decided to return my focus toward home. I really don't know what I'll do. I'll likely practice medicine, perhaps teach, certainly play more music. I will remain engaged, but a bit more nearsighted with my vision. My mom and dad, at 88 and 92, after 69 years of marriage, deserve a bit more of my attention. My children need help fixing things that they don't have time to fix. My grandchildren need to learn how to fish and hunt and learn that work is not a 4-letter word. Well, Cheryl may have a bit of trouble, but I suspect she'll get used to having me around a little bit more. We need to continue to work on our Norman Rockwell life together and looking forward to the next great adventure. God has blessed me. I'm a happy man. I wish Speaker-elect Chatfield and all of you the best. Thank you for continuing this important work, and may God bless you as well. Thank you very much.